Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of Video Games Ahoy. My name is Jonathan Radford, and today I'm joined by Daf Gape,
Game Awards,
Daf Weeks,
Nominations,
and Zach Hamilton.
Because I'm on the end, I never have anything left to say. You gotta say all the words.
Sorry. But then if I go with game, people might not know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
That's true.
Game.
That's very true. Yeah.
that's true.
Because
That's true.
yeah, all
never
right.
plan this. We should never.
Yeah,
Plan.
no, never be planned. It's the worst thing to plan.
I didn't know I was going to say Game Awards until I said it.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
We
That
could,
is the
yeah, we
beauty.
could tell.
Be in the shit, Dav. Be in the shit. Enjoy it.
How are you doing, gents?
All good.
Good.
You doing okay?
Man.
Yeah, just been playing
Yeah.
Apex.
Setting it, Dev?
Just been playing a bit of Apex just before the podcast. Feeling good.
Ooh, Apex Legends.
Sure.
Sit on the Series X. You said, yeah.
On the Series X, it is
On the
looking
Series X?
fresh, feeling
That-
fresh. Loading times are very short.
Very sexy is what I've heard. Sexy. Should we get into the podcast, guys? Because I think there's been a big announcement today, and I kind of want to get to that because we're gonna have a little quick discussion. Probably last like half an hour, knowing us, but we'll chat about it anyway. So if you are new to this podcast, we are Video Games Ahoy, and we are supported by a whole host of lovely people over on Patreon. So if you want to be one of our patrons, then you can head on over there and you can support us with a little payment of £1, £5 or £10. We do have some lovely patrons though, and they help us and the channel grow, and we're very grateful. We're very grateful for their support. We've done some pretty fun stuff, and the channel, we're pretty happy. I'd say we're pretty happy considering it's like, just over 6 months now. Just over 6 months. We're happy. So yeah, check us out over on there. You'll find some really cool stuff as well, like the Video Games Ahoy Hall of Fame. A new episode should be coming soon. And they're always a good laugh. There were some good nominees on there. And as well as Patreon, you can find us on the usual websites like Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to see our faces, then these episodes always go out onto YouTube as well. So check us out there. And finally, as ever, we're also proud to say that we're affiliated with Green Man Gaming. So if you do have any gaming needs and want to look for some delicious, so delicious deals, then make sure you head over to Green Man Gaming via the link in the description now. Now, boys, I think we need to start with the news. Because we're about to find out right now, for two of you at least, I know one of you knows what these are, the nominees for the Video Game Awards at the end of the year. So I'm not gonna talk about all of the nominees just because like there's a load of esports ones which we can kind of skim over. Not that they're not deserving, but we haven't got the time.
We are ignorant.
So I'm just going to quickly mention some of the best, the categories and stuff. So we'll talk about best performance. So Ashley Johnson from The Last of Us Part 2, Laura Bailey, I think it's Daisuke Tsuki, I apologize if I've pronounced that wrong, for Ghost of Tsushima, Logan Cunningham for Hades, and Naji Jita for Spider-Man Miles Morales. I've only
Game out yet?
Right, let me continue. Just going to quickly say that my fire alarm keeps going off, and it's everyone's trying to burn my house down, so we'll see how this goes for the next half an hour. Anyway, that was the best performances. Spider-Man did come out last week, Zach.
I kind of want to play it now, because I just watched Into the Spider-Verse for the first time, and I was really enjoying it. And now I kind of want to see more Peter Parker and more Miles Morales and more of... all of it.
Honestly, the original PlayStation game I loved. I genuinely one of my favorite games.
The voice actor for Miles Morales in the game is the same as the voice actor for Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, there we are.
I am kind of a sucker for that, and he's very good in the movie. Actually,
he's great in the movie. He's
very
great.
Good.
The movie's
talented
awesome.
run.
Actually, me and Rosie watched it like
movie.
3 days ago as well. It's such a good film. All right, so that was best performance. Let's move on to best score. So the scores that were put up were Mick Gordon for Doom Eternal, Nobuo Uematsu for Final Fantasy VII Remake, Darren Kolb for Hades, Gareth Coker for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Zach, one of your favorites, is it Gustavo
Santuella.
That's Santuella, and Dan Quayle for The Last of Us Part 2. So
massively deserved. That is an excellent soundtrack.
It is a great soundtrack. All of the music from the games that I've played from that list are lovely. So we'll talk about best narrative as well. This is obviously one of the bigger ones, and it's going to get bigger from here. But the best narrative, 13 Sentinels, I think it's called, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I was actually quite surprised at because it is good, but it's a bit shaky at times, personally, and I love that game. Ghost of Tsushima is there. Hades, again, I said this literally before the nominations coming up to Dav, actually. We both said that Hades could get a few categories, and it got a few categories. And Last of Us Part 2, that's the best narrative.
I haven't played Hades, is it good?
Apparently it's supposed to be brilliant. It's supposed to be really good. It got released on this.
I should probably play that.
I've only heard good things, and I think it's a game you might like just based on the style.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Like, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I didn't really realize it was quite so beloved.
Yeah. Best game direction, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades again, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us Part 2, best game direction.
The Final Fantasy thing, though, okay, so for the narrative, that seems kind of weird, because it's a narrative that existed, 20 years ago?
I don't want to say too much.
Oh, it's quite different?
Different stuff
okay,
happens.
no, don't say anything, it's fine.
The thing is, I don't want to throw, I was saying this actually to Daf Weeks before we started, I don't want to say anything, that will, put people off or make them question it, but, it's not note for note, beat for beat, the same game.
Sure.
So
but it's just when
it has been nominated.
when they make a new one, the one of the new Disney remakes or whatever, or when they made the Les Mis film or whatever, they have to write a new song so that it can be entered as best new song.
Yeah,
and it seems like they should have to do that. They should have to make it significantly different.
It is
for it to be a new award. But I guess, I was gonna say, to be fair, I guess the gameplay in Final Fantasy VII is quite different anyway.
Yeah, it is. It plays completely differently. I haven't
played either
of them,
I don't know.
It's a very similar story, but that's pretty much about it. A similar story, but so much about it is different. And finally, Game of the Year. Here we go. This is the one Daf Weeks and Zach in particular. I know Daf Gape's already seen these. So, Animal Crossing New Horizons got one nomination. Doom Eternal. What I loved about those two games is they released on the same day as well. So I love the fact that they're both twinned in the Game of the Year as well. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not surprised by that. It has flaws, but I'm not surprised it is a bloody good game. Ghost of Tsushima. Hades. And Zach, can you give us our last one? Because I imagine you already know.
It's got to be The Last of Us 2.
It's The Last of Us Part 2.
It's not going to win. It's not going to win it though. I'm almost certain of that.
I don't know. I think that's probably the most likely to win of all of those games.
I actually think that, I haven't even played it, but I have to say I think Animal Crossing should get it just for sales alone, and the fact that everyone loves it. Everyone is playing it or was playing it. When it came out and stuff. It's a big deal.
It's got a lot going for it.
It's a big deal in order to get people who are not necessarily part of the gaming community to be playing games. That alone should, I don't know. That just seems like a big deal for me.
No, I would totally agree with you, and I think one thing as well we all need to remember this as well is that sometimes we think of the impact of games, the impact that game had on a lot of people at the start of lockdown.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it actually helped. I know for me and Rosie, from our own personal perspective, it really helped us get through that first, couple of weeks of lockdown when things were looking really bad. Just from an emotional perspective, it was this really joyful, beautiful game that was just celebrating lots of lovely things. And it's I look at that list though, and I do think that's one of the strongest lists of any game of the year nominees I've seen. I don't know. I would probably guess and say The Last of Us Part 2 will take it, but any one of those could win it, and I'll be like, I can see why. Any one of those. I've only played 3 of them. Well, Doom Eternal apparently it had really good reviews. It had people loved it. I'd probably say that's.
Yeah, I know. I'm just not a fan.
I don't get it with Doom Eternal. I don't really. I find the gameplay really weird. It's very. I do think, on the other hand, it does something that other games are not doing. It doesn't just feel like a generic shooter. So that is definitely something. And I'm glad that people like it. Let's just leave it at that.
I think. I've only played 3 on the list, but I played the previous Doom game, and it pretty much. I imagine it plays the same from what I've seen. It plays the same.
Hasn't it?
So I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima. I do want to play that, but I was actually holding out for whether I, get a PS5 because I can just play it at 60 frames per second and what have you. That'll just be a lot more fun. And Hades is one I've been looking at for a while, but so many of my friends on the Switch, because I don't think it's out on the PS4. I think it's on Nintendo Switch and Steam. I think I could be wrong there. So loads of my friends on Nintendo have just been playing Hades and having a great time. But yeah, that's
I've not played most of the Game of the Year nomination, but it feels a bit maybe not as strong a lineup as we've had in previous years.
Oh, see, I would disagree compared to last year as well. I thought last year was very poor.
Last year, it wasn't particularly great. But 2018, you had God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead 2, and some others. 2017, you had Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5. We've had some monster years, and I don't know, just Doom and Doom Eternal. I know people love them, but I don't. I can't gel with them that much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Ghost of Tsushima. I don't understand where the love's coming from.
Yeah, I was quite shocked. That's the one I'm quite shocked by.
Game in Japan.
Say it again.
Everything I've seen about Ghost of Tsushima is just Assassin's Creed in Japan, which is fine. It's good, but
Game of the Year winning, not so much.
Yeah, and also just finally about Miles Morales getting voted for Best Voice Acting. These nominations had finished before that game came out.
Yeah.
The nominations finished weeks ago.
That is quite strange. I did think that at the time, I was like, wow, that game, like Zach said, only came out last week.
I thought it was coming out next year. Really was not keeping up.
They preempted that.
To be fair, actually, I didn't even know what Miles Morales was until I asked Dav on Twitch, because I couldn't work out if it was supposed to be DLC or just a reskin or what it was. I don't know. That's a side topic.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I think because I think Dav, you have a point in that. I think the thing with these is they're all low 90s. I don't think there's any like you say, there's no God of War game which is could be legitimately one of the best games of all time. I don't think you are right. There's no game on that list which is the best game of all time. But I do think that's a really 2 thumbs up solid list of games sort of thing. I don't think there's any standout
sure.
Oh my god moment. I do see what you mean.
That's
it's
the thing.
It's not a weak list, but
it
doesn't have that God of War / one year you'd have God of War versus Red Dead 2, you'd have Breath of the Wild versus Super Mario Odyssey. You have these sort of juggernauts who's going to win? It's going to be between these two amazing games. I feel like with any of these games, it's well, realistically, am I going to be that surprised if any of them wins? Maybe I'd be surprised if Doom won.
I think Doom would be the surprise. Maybe
I'd
Hades.
love to see Hades win.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
It'd be different. It
would be damning on the entire video games industry. Be you don't need AAA. You don't need AAA.
I mean,
indies.
Personally, I think I know a lot of people disagree with me. I even Zach might to a certain extent. I do think Last of Us Part 2 should get it, just from the risks that it took from a narrative perspective and from a lot of the themes that it did anger a lot of people, but I who cares about those people? You know what I mean? It's
sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it proves that it's trying to do something.
Yeah.
Also, quick shout out to Spiritfarer. One of my favorite games of the year. Got a few mentions, a few nominations. Best indie game, maybe best indie debut, and also they got one for Games for Change, or the one about games having a voice.
Yeah,
and a new category for accessibility, which is really nice.
Yeah. I think what was it? Assassin's Creed Valhalla was up for that, and Last of Us 2. I remember, I think I said this a couple of podcasts ago, but The Last of Us Part 2 had incredible options for accessibility. They really did.
I saw people crying on Twitter about how great the accessibility was in Last of Us 2.
It is incredible, and I think that should really be celebrated. So fair play on bringing that out. But that's it. If you had to guess, guys, which one would you go for Game of the Year? Just not from what you want, but if you had to guess, what do you think would be Game of the Year? What would you go with, Daf Weeks, just from that list?
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Zach, how about you?
I don't know.
Not so much what you think. What do you think is going to be? What do you think is going to be picked?
I weirdly think it could be Ghost of Tsushima. I just have this weird feeling that it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. Everyone seemed to really like it. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see it being Last of Us 2, but then I don't really see it being many of the others. I'd like it to be Animal Crossing, personally.
Yeah, Animal Crossing would... I think Animal Crossing the Hades would, like Dav says, really shake it up a little bit to show that, like, you don't need these... you don't need incredible graphics. You don't need, you
don't need a plot.
Yeah, you don't really need... you need to enjoy games, and that's what it comes down to. How about you, Dav G?
I think it's going to be Last of Us Part 2.
I think it is as well. But I do think it's going to be Last of Us Part 2, yeah.
Interesting.
Again, it might not necessarily be mine. I could... any one of the three that I've played, I could go for. And, I could play Hades and be like, man, this is... Because, again, I've only heard good things about Hades. But yeah, that is the list. Let's move on. So we've got Microsoft reporting that they've had the biggest launch in Xbox history. Liz Hamron wrote on news.xbox that thanks to you, the launch of the Xbox Series X and S is now the most successful debut in our history. While we missed the emotional spark of being together with you in person, it was incredible to celebrate a new generation of gaming with the millions on our celebration livestream and everyone who participated in our global launch across 40 countries. More new consoles sold than any prior generation, with Xbox Series S adding the highest percentage of new players for any Xbox console launch. There's been more games played, spanning four generations of Xbox, which is amazing, to be fair. And 70% of Xbox Series X and S consoles are attached to new and existing Xbox Game Pass members. I think that's what it comes down to in the end, isn't it? That last sentence for me is like, that's what it's been about. And 70% is, 2/3 that's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's all about long-term value. I saw a great Twitter thread by Daniel Ahmad, and definitely recommend you go and have a read of that, where he talks about what Xbox's plan has been all along to do with Game Pass and getting the attach rate. I'm talking about the amount of money a player generally spends. Players tend to buy 2 games a year on average, which in America would equate to $120. Now, a Game Pass membership is £15 a month. So that is already $180. And they've shown that actually people who have Game Pass are shown to spend 20% more than people who don't have Game Pass on games that aren't in Game Pass.
Yeah.
So you're already getting people spending $144 on top of the $180. You've gone from someone who spends $120 to someone who spends $320. And now they've got 70% of the Xbox users are on Game Pass, and they've sold more Xboxes at launch than they have with any generation beforehand. Game Pass is the way forward.
Yeah, it really is. I think
Sony needs to catch up.
I think we've been saying this for a while as well. Is that like it does feel like Microsoft have definitely bet on like the winning horse. It does feel like they put everything into this, and I think maybe not right now. But give it a couple of years, I think we will see Sony going, shit. We need something to compare.
This is an interesting point. Dav, I was wondering what you think about this. Do you think PlayStation haven't done it because Xbox have, and they want to be seen as the other, like, a completely separate option? Like, they don't want to see us having a worse Game Pass?
Yeah, maybe, quite possibly. It's really hard to tell. Like, maybe they just were thinking, it's not really going to work. But they'd be foolish to think that, because they should just have looked at Netflix and gone, oh, people didn't think that was going to work. Apparently streaming is kind of good. And they should absolutely work on the technology for that.
Yeah.
That also, their version of it sucks.
Oh, PS Now.
Yeah, because they...
But why does it suck? I don't get it. I still don't understand what it is about it.
It must be infrastructure. It must just come to infrastructure.
So. And maybe it's just too expensive.
Yeah. They had a handshake deal with Microsoft a couple of years ago to start using their cloud servers. So I definitely think that we might see some... I thought by now we'd have already seen some kind of improved PS Now with like a rebrand and stuff, like their version of Game Pass. But it's not there, so who knows what that deal was for.
Yeah, it's because I remember when I played that, the only ones that have ever actually been decent have been PS3 games, but even then they're very they stutter quite a lot. Too, like
you saw my footage of Uncharted 1.
Yeah, I did. It was not
garbage.
Not great, but yeah, Microsoft off to a really positive start. I guess we'll find out more about Sony next week. when we get Europe in as well. The sales figures start coming out. So hopefully by this time next week we'll get an idea of where Sony is as well. So let's move on. According to Business Insider, this is actually a really, really sad one. According to Business Insider, Japanese gaming giant Capcom has confirmed that it's been hit with a major cyber attack in which hackers stole the data of up to 350,000 people. In a statement on Monday, Capcom stated that it first detected a problem on the morning of November 2nd and confirmed that this was a targeted attack against the company using ransomware, which destroyed and encrypted data on its servers. 350,000, like I said, individuals' personal data has been stolen. This includes data from players, shareholders, plus former employees and their family members, names, email addresses, phone numbers, not credit card information. Capcom is getting in touch with all these people. It's just really, it's one of those things where like the main thing apparently what they were trying to steal is, it could be that, but it's information as well as much as anything else on games that are coming, games that haven't been announced, because, that's pretty much like one of the main things that's been leaked at the moment. Nothing else has really been leaked other than... I'm not going to mention any of the games, because I don't think that's fair, but there are loads of games that Capcom have been making, but not announced as of yet, have been released, which I just... Do you know what? The more I think about leaks and stuff, the more I just think that it just must really suck for the people who put like all that effort into these games and really trying to think like, oh man, people are gonna love this, gonna really love hearing this. We've got this new game and I'm trying it for the first time, and it just feels like that moment gets stolen from them a little bit. I mean, it is literally stolen. All of this information is stolen, as well as like genuine personal stuff. But did you guys hear about this at all?
Yeah, I heard about it, and it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. It just I say I don't know why people do it, but I mean, it's information. That's all people really care about. It's just really sad. So hopefully nothing too serious will come from this, and Capcom's able to get I guess a lid on it. Really, the whole situation. Let's move on to Sony. We have mentioned Sony. We haven't actually mentioned a lot about Sony's launch of the PS5 because the PS5 has been crashing, especially when people have been playing Marvel's Spiderman Remastered. It's been causing particular problems when putting rest mode. Similarly, some users have had issues with external hard drives causing database rebuild errors. This is according to Push Square. They experienced the latter problem, which is database rebuild errors, reviewing the console early in the month, but they've continued to use their PS5 daily with an external HDD attached. And I've had zero problems with the system since. There is a new firmware update issue today, so I imagine for the European launch, which is tomorrow for us, but on Saturday would have already been, that should hopefully fix a lot of these problems, but that's not a good look that basically Spider-Man Remastered is crashing consoles, but that's absolutely mad.
Imagine that happening with a console 10, 20 years ago. You couldn't just be like, it's all right, we'll fix it after. It's just you have ruined your whole thing.
You have to recall every single unit.
Can you imagine that? Oh my goodness. But that's the thing we've said before, though, isn't it? With any game or console 20 years ago, it had to be ready, and if it wasn't, it would just be remembered as jank, and that's it. That's it.
Why aren't they testing this stuff? The Spider-Man issue is, if you put the console into rest mode while the game is playing, you boot up the console again, and then you've got to your console just breaks. It doesn't break, but it breaks. You've just got to massively reset the entire console. And it's what? Come on, didn't you test that once?
Yeah, it's not like some obscure game. It's fucking Marvel Spider-Man, the game that 100,000 million people are gonna play.
And it's happening to
obviously this is gonna happen.
Everyone. It's happening to everyone who does that specific thing. So it's not even one or two weird cases. It's this game does not work when you do this. This console does not work when you do this. And it just, I know, COVID, etc., it's hard to QA stuff right now, but it seems like quite a glaring gap. That should be something you test.
It's not even that many games to test.
Especially when it's one of your flagship games as well. Spider-Man is their main game along with Demon's Souls. Is the game they've been trying to push. Yeah, it's PS4 game.
It's just a remaster of a PS4 game.
So the one thing I will say is that, and this is not in defense of Sony at all. This is actually, this is a conversation that could have been had by them and Microsoft in general. But from what I've read and from what I've heard, these consoles are just coming. They've they're not as they could have waited another 6 months. Is what I'd say.
They weren't quite as polished.
They're not as polished. They basically said no, we have to release them this year, and that was it. So they just had to push through any issues, and like I said, they'll fix it on the back end. I think it's because like Dav, I think Daf Gape, you've probably previously said this. I think they were both scared. They were scared that the other, if one went, then the other one would get left behind. So they've both gone, and I haven't heard of many problems as Microsoft. I've seen those ridiculous videos of people putting vaping ones. Oh my goodness, they're so silly. Just why would you bother doing that?
So people, have you guys seen this? Where people are putting videos online of, like, you know how the Xbox looks like a big chimney, like smoke coming out of the Xbox, being like, oh, my Xbox was playing this game and it just went on fire and there's massive smoke and there's good video smoke. And what the reason it works like that is because the Xbox has a fan at the top and then like holes at the bottom, and if you breathe vape smoke into the bottom, it passes through the whole Xbox and comes out the top, make it look like something inside's on fire.
Oh my god! It
was debunked within like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
like even the person himself was like, "Oh, by the way, that was a joke." But like, obviously, the internet was like, "Oh, Xbox, it sucks."
Oh my God.
Honestly, that's the one thing I really don't understand. I don't get it, because like I haven't bought an Xbox since the 360, so I haven't bought one for like 14, 13 years, whatever it is. But like I don't have any ill will against Microsoft or Xbox. I want to buy an Xbox this generation. I don't understand why people are just like, mine's the best, yours is shit. It's like supporting a football. It's got to the point where it's like supporting a football team. And it's like it's as ridiculous as like, this is my team, I will defend them regardless of what like is being told to me. Like I've seen people from PS5 just be responding to PS5 having glitches by going, yeah, but Xbox doesn't have games. It's like, that's not the point. That's not literally, it's not the point.
They can both be shit.
Yeah, two things can be true. They can be true at the same time.
They both have glitches. Like Yakuza is hard crashed on me twice. Like,
yeah,
you know, both consoles have ish. I've got a cramp in my leg. The Xbox heard me talking bad about it. I'm sorry.
You were saying that both companies were kind of worried they were going to be left behind. That seems like kind of an oversight when you look back at like how Sega ended up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Sega basically fell apart as a console manufacturer purely because of that. They came up with 3 different consoles in the space of about 4 years or something crazy like that, and ultimately they ended up putting the Dreamcast out, only to be outdone by the PlayStation, which came out 9 months later. Partly because the PlayStation 2 was more polished. You know what I mean? There was more. It was a much more well-rounded console. I like the Dreamcast a lot. I'm not shitting on the Dreamcast. No. I'm just saying from like a marketing. I can see Dav pulling the face. I like the Dreamcast. It's all right. But
it's great.
From a marketing standpoint, they fucked up. You know what I mean? Like they made a big mistake, and it seems like if one company had fired first and brought their console out unfinished in November, and the other one had waited 6 months and brought it out, admittedly not around Christmas, you know, it feels like just as risky a move.
I think
Switch came out in March.
The Switch came out in March.
The Switch is doing just fine.
It's doing fine. It's doing just fine.
I think there was I think with PlayStation, I think maybe there's always going to be that worry that Xbox 360 had the jump on them with regards to that generation, and it took a long time for PlayStation to catch up. So I think, not that I think that Xbox would have, because I think with Xbox losing Halo as like that big game seller, I don't think they had. People are still going to buy it, but I don't think it was that frenzy to buy it like with the Xbox 360. But it is interesting.
Was Halo 3 a launch title for the Xbox?
No. Halo 1 is the only Xbox launch game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The first one. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, I'm planning on I'm going to try and get a PS5. So hopefully, if I do get one, I can see for myself that if there are any issues. I don't know how likely it is I'm going to get one, but I'll try my best and see how that goes. Just 2 very quick Nintendo updates. The first one is for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. That's received a new update. It added GameCube controller support to Super Mario Sunshine, and they've inverted the camera support as well, which means you can go in and pick it's very specifically as well, like how you'd like to invert the camera over a load of different things. I tried doing it with inverted cameras and I can't play the game. I just can't do it. It means absolutely nothing to me because I tried doing it. I was like, no, this is just not for me. But for those who wanted it, great.
So ironic, because that's literally how you first played the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly, and that's why people were complaining, because like most people are like, this is how I played the game in the first place. And
wait, is it inverted in the original game?
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, I didn't know that. I've definitely played that in the last 5 or 10 years and not noticed. Actually, that's really interesting.
So two final ones. This is an update for Nintendo, and then I've got a little bit of Nintendo, like, just to finish off. But that's just a little bit of fun. It's not fun actually when we get to it. Animal Crossing New Horizons has had a load of seasonal updates, activities, and a winter update. We got Turkey Day, if you can guess what that is. Toy Day, if you can guess what that is. New reactions and hairstyles, home storage upgrade, random islands and dreams, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp collaboration, and seasonal items to celebrate New Year's Eve. But by far the most important new addition is the island and resident data transfers. 2 new features are arriving to offer expanded flexibility for your island and resident data. This is from Nintendo directly, by the way, so that's why he's talking like this. The whole island transfer feature will enable you to move your user save data along with the island itself and all of the residents to another system. This service will be facilitated by the free Island Transfer Tool app in the Nintendo eShop. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, well done, Nintendo. I don't want to give Nintendo too much, like well done. Like, it just feels like it should have been there in the first place, but at least it's there now. And that's kind of all I have to say about that.
Jonny, what's the most important feature in your eyes?
Oh, be it sitting down. I want to sit down right next to the tree. Just
being able to sit down on the floor.
Sit down on the floor. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
It means you can put on a little show and everyone can sit on the floor and you can spin
really,
your thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, so if you're into Animal Crossing, I actually haven't picked up Animal Crossing in months, I gotta be honest.
Same.
In fact, me and Rosie were talking about it, and she always tells me off because I always make her feel guilty for not going back in. She's like, I don't want to talk to any of them. They'll all tell me I haven't cleaned and picked up turnips or whatever. I don't know. The last one, the Wii U first launched 8 years ago today. Wow. So, the Wii U.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. I think that's the problem.
I thought it went 8 years ago as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, well, isn't that I think that's the thing, really, isn't it? Like, the fact that it would now kind of be coming to the end of its actual life, and that life finished about 5 years ago, at least. So yeah, Wii U, you weren't a good console for a lot of people, but rest in peace. All right, guys, let's move on to games we're playing. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about? Actually, do you mind if I start very quickly? Just because there is a game I want to talk about, and I mentioned this to Zach the other day very briefly whilst I was watching him play Hollow Knight for about 5 minutes. And that's Super Mario Galaxy. I actually finished the game about 3 or 4 nights ago. I
remembered how many stars you have to get.
Yeah. Oh, it's not in the quiz. Don't worry about that. Because I realized that I told you how many stars you needed. I was like, I can't put that in now. But yeah. I think I can see why people think it's people's favorite game, Super Mario game. I think I've kind of shifted a little bit, because at the start, when I first started playing it, I was so in awe, and I was like, wow, this feels like a brand new game. Wow, it's Mario, and I can see how amazing it is. I think having spent 2 months with it now, I think I can safely say Odyssey is my favorite Mario game, or at least in the 3D Mario games. I think Odyssey, I think one thing that hasn't aged massively well with Galaxy, and that has aged even now after 3 years beautifully with Odyssey, is just the controls. Just Mario in Odyssey might be one of the most responsive controls for a game I've ever played. He is so responsive in Super Mario Odyssey, and he's not as responsive in Galaxy. And I know that game's 10 years old, but
yeah,
that
was a problem with a lot of Wii games, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
nothing quite on the
yeah
money.
It just, and I think as well, it was still really good, and it was still a step up on actually, no, do you know what, I'm going to say something controversial. I think Super Mario Sunshine controls slightly better. I don't think the camera controls better. I think Mario controls better than Galaxy, but Galaxy is an overall better game. I still really enjoy Galaxy, though. And the ending is surprisingly affecting. I was actually quite emotional at the ending, just based on the music and the narrative. I thought it's a bloody good game, but I think Odyssey is my favorite Mario game. That's kind of all I wanted to say.
The thing about Odyssey's camera controls is that you don't control the camera, isn't that kind of, it just kind of just does it for you.
Odyssey is beautiful.
And it works out for itself.
I'm
totally
so good.
Into that. I think that's a really good compromise. Just you know where I'm going to be looking.
I think as well with Odyssey, I think it's 60 frames per second. I'm fairly sure it is, and the camera moves can move wherever you want it to go. Whereas with Galaxy, it's still like that sort of like half, like not even half, like a quarter turn, like you know what I mean. It's like that all the time. And that is quite frustrating. And playing a game like that now, when we're so used to being able to have, just complete use of the camera to go wherever you want to go. But yeah, that was it. Brilliant game. I finished the 3D All-Star Collection. I should probably get the all of the stars, but I can't be bothered. I've got so much to play coming up. Maybe I'll get 120 stars on all of them further on the line. But yeah, that was it. Anyone else?
Yeah. Go on, Zach.
Just because I've only got a little smattering of games that I've been playing. And it's all games I've been playing before. So, Apex Legends is a new season.
Nice.
Really enjoying that. The new map's super cool. I've not played with the new character yet because I'm not paying money for it yet. Rocket League. I've been playing a lot of Rocket League without you. I know. Getting a lot of fun out of that. I actually bought the season pass.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Forza 7, and I dabbled a little bit in Forza Horizon 4, having some good times. God, those games look good. And Forza Horizon 4, just going around the British countryside in Halo's Warthog. That is a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
Cool. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, obviously Yakuza is just phenomenal.
Bonkers.
10 out of 10, best game ever made.
Actually, can I just pause you very quickly? Just on Yakuza, we need to have a shout out for Harry last week on the title screen for the thumbnail. The thumbnail was just amazingly brilliant. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
And my last game is I just 100%ed Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1.
Oh, nice.
Now I'm on to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. God, those games are so good, so good. And I've got it ready on Quick Resume.
Nice.
On School 2 in Tony Hawk's 2, ready for when I fancy popping on that.
Well, what's crazy as well is that 2 is considered to be one of the greatest games of all time. Like 1 is still amazing, I imagine.
3 is even better than those. So I'm sure they're going to redo.
3's my favorite.
Yeah, they're all great. Like they're so good.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun just going from game to game to game to game to game on this totem.
Dav, I was going to say for is Quick Resume because it's one thing I don't think we fully understood how much of it. I'm going to say game changer because it is both literally
it's a game changer for changing games.
Like but we never used to say it. We never used to talk about it that much because I don't think we realized how much of an impact it's going to have. But for you, it clearly is.
Yeah, like I'll be going to go and have a sip of my tea, and I'll be like, I'm it's crazy. Like, and you get loads of people online being like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop tweeting forever because loading screens was when I tweeted, or like I realized I didn't message my other half for 4 hours, and I was like, I usually would have, but there's no load screens. I don't have time to pick up my phone. What do you mean pausing? I can't pause. But yeah, man, I'm having a lot of fun.
That's great. Awesome.
Sorry, Dav. You go.
Anything else? Okay, awesome. Dav Weeks, anything you want to say? Is it the Pikmin 3?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No. I was inspired. I'm afraid not. I was inspired by Jonny, your little kind of pursuit on doing all of the 2D Zeldas.
Oh,
and I started playing Link to the Past on the Super NES.
Nice.
Yeah. I love it actually.
It's great, isn't it?
It's really good.
Have you played it before?
No, never played this one.
Awesome.
Like the only 2D one I'd ever played was Link's Awakening on my old Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the only top-down one I'd ever played. And now I'm playing this one. I'm like, yeah, man. Digging it.
It's a really, really awesome game.
It is great.
It
really
is good. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to have such a little tight little map. Like I'm so used to having these big expansive things that take half an hour to walk across.
Yeah.
And then you got these ones which are 10 kind of screens across, 10 by 10, but they're really good. And it doesn't feel like too tight or too small. It just feels really correct.
Yeah.
And so I've just done the 3 pendants, and then I got a mirror, and all of a sudden, oh, okay.
Yeah, this is what the game's
just
about.
Doubled the game. Yeah, and I was like, all right, okay.
How awesome is the
this even longer?
How awesome is the is it under? It's not the underworld, is it? It's what's
Dark
it called?
World.
Dark
The
World.
Dark World.
Not music.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I could listen to that.
Is it,
I'm in a dark world, and I'm a rabbit.
Yeah,
it's like, what? Hang on, what?
It is bonkers.
To this game. But then, yeah. So I've just worked out how to actually not be a rabbit in the dark world. So I've got a lot of exploring to redo.
Oh,
cool.
Man, I think this time it was this time last year actually. I was talking to Zach, or maybe it wasn't even that long ago, but because I played it on the SNES app. So I think I played it when the SNES app came out, whenever that was. I think it was last year. And I just remember, because I hadn't played it in so long, I remember saying to Zach, just like, I spent a 20, like, I think I beat it about 20 hours, but I loved it so much, and you can see where like Zelda games evolve just from that. Once they hit upon A Link to the Past, Nintendo were like, this is it. This is the formula. And I mean, they used that formula for what, 2 decades?
Yeah.
I mean, only now they've recently changed the formula because it worked so well.
If you play Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time back to back, Ocarina of Time feels like they went, how do we make Link to the Past 3D?
In 3D, yeah.
It's almost it's the same structure. You've got the same items. Everything's the same.
There's a dark world.
There's a dark world, yeah.
By that we mean the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great game. I love that.
Yeah. That's a great shot, that is, Dav. Anything else to add?
Nope, that's me.
Great. Zach, anything else you want to talk about?
I've been busy, guys, but something I have been doing this week is me and Bronwyn play games at night. Like, we'll have like our tea, and then we'll like have like an hour or two before bed where we play a lot of Rocket League with some friends. But that's been getting too frustrating for me because I'm still terrible and they're all really good. And so we decided we were going to teach Bronwyn how to play Fortnite. I thought like that would be like
nice.
That's a game for kids, right? Like she's not
a child. She's not a child.
Yeah.
You're on.
I was going to say she's not. Shit. No. She's not like not a gamer, but she doesn't play games like all the time. So like stuff like shooting and stuff is like not like second nature. You know, 2 control sticks is still pretty new to her. But I thought, it's got to be fairly easy. That game is so confusing to explain. Some shit happens, and I have to be like, oh well, that's because of. And like I go on these big long tangents. Like it's such a confusing game. Like what she dies and she's like, "Oh, I've died now." And it's like, "No, you're not dead. You're kind of dead, but like how do you explain like the revival system and like when you actually are dead?" I stopped. I couldn't teach her it anymore. It was giving me a headache trying to explain. Because the other thing is when I started playing it, it was like 2 or 3 years ago when it was much simpler. It wasn't all like Marvel shit, you know what I mean? Like it's all Marvel superheroes
and they
right now.
Stolen everything from Apex Legends either.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, so it wasn't. I mean, it just becomes very complex. It's not just a case of like, if you sat playing like Call of Duty, shoot a man, it's just like point and shoot. That's the game. But damn, online multiplayer is fraught for explaining at this stage.
I just on that point, not necessarily the same point you were making, but something similar to what you were saying about like people playing video games for the first time. I think we take for granted like how easy it is for us to just pick up a controller and play a game because we've been playing games since we were like 6, 7, 8 years old. Whereas like even like I'll use Rosie as an example. She doesn't enjoy playing games that are really fast paced and stuff. She's like, I didn't grow up playing video games, so like I'd rather play something where I can take my time and be a bit more considered with the approach. And I saw this. There's a really good video on YouTube actually. I can't remember the guy's name. His wife had never played video games before, and he got his wife to play. I know 2 games for certain because I remember them. One was a surprisingly big success. Oh, I know the 3 games, actually. I remember the other one. So one was Animal Crossing, one was Dark Souls, and one was Breath of the Wild. And surprisingly, the one that his wife found the easiest to play was Breath of the Wild, because especially the opening of the game where it really does teach you how the like how everything works, and it's like use this, and it's very logical in how the game works. And you chop down a tree and you get the wood and you create a fire. And it's like, oh, that's a lot of that game is how you would actually try and do things in the real world. Yeah. I just find that really interesting, and how we take that for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Game logic is a thing that you learn over years. Like, for instance, knowing the right trigger is shoot in a game.
Yeah.
Like, it takes years to know these kind of things just like by knowing it. You know, like A should be jump, and any game that has it as Y or triangle is wrong. But yeah, these things, and what's easy to forget, especially for people like us, is that every game is someone's first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, when we're like, oh, it's bloody tutorials, it's like, well, someone needed those tutorials so badly.
Yeah.
But I do think there are better ways of doing tutorials than others, and Breath of the Wild is very nice of, like, here's your play area.
Yeah.
Now you know how to play the game, and you've got all your powers, you know how to do it all. Here's the world.
Yeah. Off you go.
Totally.
Go and paraglide. Go on. Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, and I feel as well like optional tutorials is also not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing, like especially with I think it was Skyward Sword. No, Twilight Princess. I remember specifically that tutorial like pissed off a lot of people because it took like an hour. And people like, and it wasn't one of those things. It was fun. It was like, go and get this, but you don't know where it is. It's like, go and do this. It's like, how do I do that?
Fetch.
Yeah, it was.
But
just
then that's half of Ocarina.
It is true. It is true. He's not wrong.
Half of Ocarina.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say at least solid 75%.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I'm getting the board. Do you know what time it is?
It's
time for you all to go home. No, I'm joking. It's time for the Video Games Ahoy quiz. Yay! Woo! All right, let me just write your names down.
Quiz.
Right, here we go. Oh, I like that. That was pretty good. That was really good.
We stopped doing jingles.
The world turned.
Each week, every single person will, for every question, we'll have a jingle.
Have its own jingle.
For every question.
Question number 1. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, if that's what we're doing.
And the thing is, when it gets really tough, it could just be like, question 2. Even though question.
Is that a jingle?
It is in Sad Town. All right, question number 1. Here we go. What is the and I'm not going to give you options for this. You either know it or you don't. What is the name of the country in which Fable takes place?
Ooh, I like this question.
Fable 1 or all of them?
All of them.
They all take place in the same place.
Perfect.
So.
Jonny, do you know where this name comes from?
I do know where this name comes from. I do.
I looked it up because I really wanted to know because I'm a nerd.
It's cool. It's quite cool. I quite like that. Quite like where it came from.
I love those games, man.
Yeah, I
so
do
good.
Too. I love those games. Like that is the reason why I'm probably going to get an Xbox Series. Either I might get an S just to play Fable because I want one of the consoles.
My friend's got an S, and he's very happy with it. Very happy with it. So
my pal's got an S, and he's just like, it's great because it's $250, which is it's banging. All right, guys, you have answers?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, press enter.
Albion.
Super Magic Land.
Daf Weeks said Super Magic Land. Daf Weeks is obviously right. It's Albion. It's Albion, which is explain us what it is, Zach.
It's it's Old Britain.
Old Britain. Yeah, Old Britain. I quite like that. I thought that was quite cool. All right, question number 2. What was the first game that Tingle appeared in? I have options.
This feels like a trick question.
See, I think Tingle is hilarious. I don't know why Tingle makes me laugh so much.
Okay, I've got one.
Cool. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm right
3,
on this.
2, 1, press enter.
Majora's Mask.
Daf Gape, what are you going with?
Majora's Mask.
Daf Weeks.
Ocarina of Time.
And Zach.
Majora's Mask.
It is Majora's Mask. Sorry, Daf Weeks.
Damn.
All right. Question number 3. Oh wait, sorry. question number 3. Okay, Masahiro Sakurai was involved with all of the following games, but which game was the first that he himself directed? Okay, so I'm going to give you them in alphabetical order. So the first one is Arcana, second one is Kirby's Adventure, third one is Kirby's Dreamland, and fourth one is Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
He directed which one of those for the first time? For his first time. Okay, you guys gonna answer?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press enter.
Ooh, we've all gone Kirby's Dreamland.
And you've all gone Kirby's Dreamland, and you're all right. It was Kirby's Dreamland.
I think you're all wrong.
Yeah, it was Kirby's Dreamland. Not played Kirby's Dreamland, but I've heard very good things.
So good.
It's fun. I mean, it's very easy, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about Kirby games. They're just silly and fun and great.
Yeah.
Question number 4. According to How Long to Beat, how many hours would it take to 100% complete The Last of Us Remastered? The term used is completionist. Again, you don't really need. I think with these questions, you don't really need an understanding of the game as much as you'd think, because
it depends if it means like New Game Plus and stuff like that, and it doubles.
Yeah, I imagine when it comes to PlayStation games, it's imagine like getting all the trophies. I guess that is like
is that what completionist is?
I imagine.
It means getting everything.
Yeah, if you got like the 100%, like I imagine that's what it is. Just yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
You guys gonna answer?
I think I'm gonna be pretty close on this.
Okay, here we go. I'd love it if you get it wrong.
You've done it.
But like, the most wrong as well, like considering you.
I could very easily get it really funny. Wrong. It'd be very, very easy for it to happen.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Daf Weeks.
80.
Zach Hamilton.
21.
And David Gape.
34.
It's not very long.
It's 27.
Oh, really?
27.
Zach wins.
I think Zach gets the point
by half
for
an
that.
hour.
By half, yeah, Zach wins.
I'm actually really surprised by that.
27 hours.
The main gameplay is only 15 hours, and then there's like not that much side shit.
I think it's because it's the remastered. It comes with a DLC included.
So does it? It includes a DLC, and it also probably includes some trophies from the multiplayer.
Yeah, I think with the original, because the reason why I said the Last of Us Remastered specifically was because the original was only 22. I mean, you would be 1 hour off with the original,
right?
Which is crazy.
I wasn't counting the. I wasn't counting the
DLC. Okay, question number 5. Number five. When was the last game released on the Game Boy Advance? Bonus points for the game. Last game released on the Game Boy Advance. Bonus point for the game. I've got to be honest. If you get this game, I'm going to give you 40 points because it's I would never get this. I mean, I'm joking. I'm not going to give you 40 points because otherwise you'll go and cheat.
I don't even really remember the Game Boy Advance. What was that like? Actually, I'm sorry.
Zach, shut up!
Don't spoil it for myself.
Shut up! That's also one of my favorite Simpsons jokes.
Alright,
shut up! Okay, you guys have an answer? Okay, on the count of 3, here we go. 3, 2, 1, press enter. Daf Weeks, show me what you got.
2005, Golden Sun 2.
Okay, 2005 Golden Sun 2. Okay, Zach Hamilton, what you got?
Dav's answer is amazing. My one with 2008 NBA 09.
I really enjoy who said NBA 09 on the Game Boy Advance. I just really enjoyed that.
I just feel like that probably is a game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And Daf Gape?
I've gone with the correct answer, which is 2011 and Imagine Cats with a Z.
Daf Gape with 50 No, it's not Imagine Cats. It is Samurai Deeper Kyo, and it came out in 2008, which means that gets a point.
Baby.
But in 3 years after that, it was made for the West under the name Imagine Cats.
Remastered.
Imagine Cats.
I love that.
It's the Z that does it for me.
Okay, here we go. Question 6. Which Bethesda game with a score of 96 is the highest rated by reviewers on Metacritic? Okay. I'll give you these top 4 in alphabetical order, or unless you don't want me to give you... Do you just want to guess?
Yeah, go on. Throw them at us.
No, I got a no from Daf Weeks. Zach, do you want?
Yeah, I want to hear him.
You want to hear him? Okay.
Go on.
Okay. Daf Weeks like no. Okay.
I've already written it.
Again, in alphabetical
order.
I've
already written mine. I just want to hear them anyway.
Dishonored, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and Fallout 3. Ooh.
All right, I got my answer.
Okay, you guys ready? On the count of three, Daf Weeks are going to go first,
wrong.
Okay? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Beep! Skyrim,
Fallout 3. Skyrim for Zach and Fallout 3 for Daf Gape. The answer... Actually, I'm going to go from...
Dishonored? I bet it's Dishonored.
I'm going to go from... no, I'm going to go from... Because these include the ports as well. And no, not ports. These include just the releases on different consoles.
Oh, I'll give you the highest one. Oblivion.
Yeah. So, in 91 is Dishonored. 92 Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Just because Skyrim's done that doesn't mean it's not... doesn't mean it's last. It just means it's the PS3 version. Fallout 3 on the Xbox 360 with 93. Sadly, that is the highest position that Fallout 3 gets, so sorry, Daf Gape. Then Elder Scrolls Oblivion with 93. Elder Scrolls Oblivion on the PC with 94. That's the PS3 and PC. With 94, it's Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion on the Xbox 360. I don't know why they all got wildly different scores. It seems ridiculous.
Well, Oblivion on PS3 was a buggy mess.
Oh, was it? Compared to the Xbox 360? Yeah. Well, that explains it, because in first place was Skyrim with 96 on the Xbox 360. So who says Skyrim? Was it Zach?
And me.
And Daf Weeks.
I did as well.
Question 7. Name that badly described game.
Oh shit.
Okay, here we go.
I like these ones.
Magical Greenpeace attempt to stop a meteor with shiny orbs.
Magical what?
Greenpeace attempt to stop a meteor with shiny orbs.
I like it. I like your thinking.
Oh.
It's not Pokemon. That's what it was last time, wasn't it?
Digimon.
I really don't. Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
Magical Greenpeace attempt to stop a meteor with shiny orbs. I think Daf Weeks has got it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
Is this a fucking Final Fantasy game?
It might not be. It might be. That's you got to find out, Zach.
Fuck.
You've got to find out the answer.
Alright, I've got a guess.
Okay, here we go. 3.
I have a wrong guess.
2, 1. Press enter.
Final Fantasy 7.
Fuck off.
It is Final Fantasy 7.
Sorry, Zach.
I hate Final Fantasy 1.
The picture of Final Fantasy 7 has a meteor, doesn't it?
Say again?
It's the logo of the
logo.
Yeah, it's
the
the logo,
game.
it's the logo in the game. Yeah, it's the logo in the game.
You could see what I was going with. You said Greenpeace. So
that's right. Yeah, that's what I said.
I was like a little green boy.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with that. And that's also, I guess, kind of works, but it's no shiny orbs.
Not
no shiny
Link
orbs.
is such a piece.
Okay, question number 8. What is Mega Man called in Japan?
Oh,
I don't know this.
Do you want the 4?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Zach, do you want the 4? Okay.
Yes, please.
WizKid, Mr. Robot, Rockman, Jumpman. WizKid, Mr. Robot, Rockman, Jumpman.
I'd be really annoyed if I get this wrong.
This is funny.
Just be aware of that.
Okay, here we go. Daf Gape might rage quit the podcast. Okay, here we go. Question number 8. Guys, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Daf Weeks go first. Got Mr. Robot, Mr. Robot, and Rockman. The answer is Rockman.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
He's called Rockman.
There's a song as well. There's a song on YouTube by.
That's the dumbest name.
Yeah, it's really funny. Isn't it? Also known as Rockman.
That's very confusing as well, because all of the other ones are called like Flashman and Crashman and
Smash
Man.
A lot of them have like musical names.
Okay.
Flashman's made of mashed potato.
Yeah, he is. He goes well with gravy.
Night. What year did Fortnite Battle Royale release?
Battle Royale?
Yes, Fortnite Battle Royale. Very specific.
I have no idea.
Question number 9.
Okay.
9.
I've got an answer, but I don't think it's right.
On the count of 3, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Daf Gape, go first.
2016.
Zach?
I nearly put 2016, but I went 2017.
Daf Weeks?
You're right.
2016.
It is 2017.
Yeah. Yes! Fortnite came out in 2016. Battle Royale came after.
Yeah.
That's why I said that's specifically Battle Royale, because I knew there was two different versions of the game.
Technically, it didn't come out. It was in beta for forever.
Yeah. It only came out recently, didn't it?
Yeah.
It came out this year. Which is when I was doing my research for this quiz. And question number 10. Which of these games did Hans Zimmer write music for? Okay. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Mass Effect 2, The Simpsons game, Spyro: A Hero's Tale.
Oh, it could be any of those fucking games. Which Simpsons game?
I'm worried this is a trick question.
This is not a trick question because I'm being very specific here, because Mass Effect 2 is on there, but Mass Effect 1 isn't, or 3. So Mass Effect 2, these are all specific games. Think about this specific game, okay? So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, Mass Effect 2, The Simpsons game, and Spyro: A Hero's Tale. Okay? Got your answers?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I have
3,
no
2,
idea.
1. Press enter. It is The Simpsons game. So Zach and Daf Gape.
Damn.
He wrote Modern Warfare 2's music. So he wrote some of that. So when you were saying specifically, he actually wrote the music to Modern Warfare 2.
Didn't you write the theme tune to Simpsons?
Yeah,
that was Danny Elfman.
That was Danny Elfman. Yeah, for the game, I think he wrote the one of the main themes for the game.
That's lucky. I was guessing based on the theme tune. It's
Danny Elfman. All right. It's quite close. Tiebreaker. Okay. Final question. Tiebreaker. How many games released for the Nintendo DS?
Oh my god. Are there enough zeros in the universe?
How many games released? I
always forget what was said last time about this, because I'm always so far off.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Daf Weeks.
1,050.
Zach.
4,567.
And David Gape.
8,498.
The answer was 1,965, which means Dav Weeks gets 2 points.
Is that it?
Really?
Yeah!
That's it. Not
there's
many
shovelware on that game.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's not as bad as the Wii, but there's a lot. And I've got some final scores. One of you has absolutely smashed it this week. I've got to give it to them. But in third place with 5 is Dav Weeks.
I needed that. Tiebreaker money.
Tiebreaker money. Yeah. Daf Gape with second is 6, and Zach got 8.
Come on.
8 out of 10 for the tiebreaker. You smashed it this week.
How do I leave this meeting?
Rage quit. Where's Rage quit?
You kind of gave me all the best questions. You gave me Majora's Mask and shit.
We don't complain about Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say we only got one bullshit Final Fantasy.
One bullshit is the one I didn't get. It was the one that's bullshit.
One. That one doesn't. That's not real.
Even the bullshit one, you guessed Majora's Mask for the answer.
What'd you say, Dev?
Even for the bullshit one, you guessed Majora's Mask for the answer.
I did. Yeah.
But yeah, that's some pretty good going though. Because some of those, again. I always ask these questions and you guys get them right, and I'm always I would not have guessed. I would not have guessed that right. So well done, seriously. But that is the end of podcast number 31. Thank you very much for listening today. If you did enjoy it, then please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon, and tell your friends and give us a review or a comment. It really would mean the world to us. We are all streaming like we usually do. So keep an eye out. If I do manage to get a PS5, then I will be streaming next week. If I don't manage to get a PS5, then I'll be crying, so I won't be streaming.
You're streaming with tears.
Yeah, I'll just be crying. I might stream depending on what happens. Maybe one of us will be streaming Hyrule Warriors. It might be me, it might be Dav. More likely to be Dav, hopefully, if I can. Maybe, I don't know. He's giving me a look of
well, if you don't get a PS5, you'll be streaming that.
Yes.
So yes, hopefully it is me.
Yes.
But I plan to be streaming Yakuza until I
die. So yeah, keep an eye out on Twitch. And yeah, we love you. Thanks for listening. If you got this far, we really love you. We are Video Games Ahoy, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.